Today's topic is making money on the stock market. Greetings from Ballarat, Victoria, Australia. My name is Jerome Nugent-Smith and it's Sunday the 19th of September 2021. I want to talk to you today about how I turned $100,000 into $10.3 million plus by investing in shares on the Australian Stock Exchange over a period of 6 months, from March 2021 to the end of August 2021. So the fund returned over 10,220% return on investment. That's an extraordinary figure, and it's one that needs to be set into some context to establish credibility. So what I'm going to do first is to give you a brief overview as to how this came about and give you a summary of the results, and then finally talk about what's next. So how did it come about? Well, about 7 months ago, my wife and I moved from Queensland down to Ballarat, Victoria. And at the same time, I took up a position of tutoring at the University of Third Age, that's U3A. The subject matter was boom, borrow, bubbles, beware or bust. And within that broad subject matter, myself and students would focus in each week for an hour and a half on how to make money on the global stock markets and specifically on the Australian Stock Exchange. We would cover a variety of topics, everything from cryptocurrencies to shares to shorting stocks and so on. At the same time, the local radio station, 3BA, host Brett McDonald on Ballarat Today, invited me on as a guest speaker to talk about topics again under the same banner of boom, borrow, bubbles and beware or bust. Now, both within the U3A classes and also on the radio program, we decided to set up a fictitious investment fund, like a share game. And Brett suggested, why don't we set up $100,000 and invest that in the stock ASX and see what sort of results we could achieve, or specifically that I could achieve. So that's what we did. And two strategies were adopted. One, a set and forget strategy. In other words, I selected 10 stocks and put $10,000 towards the end of February 2021 into each of 10 separate stocks. And we put that aside and see what return on investment could be achieved over a 6-month period, which ended just recently at the end of August. At the same time, I decided to run a parallel exercise in terms of active daily trading. In other words, turning that money over on a regular daily basis and see what sort of return could be generated. Now, with the first set and forget strategy, the shares over that 6-month period, the fund increased from $100,000 to $147,500. That's a 47.5% return on investment. One stock, share price remained the same. 4 stocks, the share price lost money. And with 5 stocks, they made money, but out of those 5 stocks, 2 made the most money. The other 3 were just basically in the green, but barely in the green. So in other words, 2 out of 10 made the $47,500, $47,500 or 47.5% return on investment. Very good, you might say. Well, it was. And compared to bank interest rates of 1 to 1.5%, it was extraordinary. So what about the active daily trading strategy of turning the $100,000 into $10.3 million plus, or 10,220% return on investment? Well, that's what was achieved. Now, in subsequent episodes, I'm going to delve into more specifics of both those particular strategies. But it's important to emphasise that both the students that participate in my classes of Boom, Borrow, Bubbles, Beware or Bust have a record and have had results over the past six months. So they're all aware of what was going on and the results that were achieved, and we discussed that once a week in the U3A classes. Similarly, those people that tuned into Radio 3BA in Ballarat with Ballarat Today's host Brett Mack, on a regular basis I would update how the fund was going on both those particular types of strategies. So there is a broad populace of people that both in terms of the active participants in the U3A classes, plus the broader population of Ballarat, that are aware of the establishment of the fund, the terms and conditions of the fund, and the results that were achieved over over the 6 month period, and specifically on a regular basis. So, given that, what is the next step? What am I looking to do for the next 6 months, the next 12 months? Well, simply to turn the fiction into reality, to set up a hedge fund with about $5 million investment, which could be either listed on the Australian Stock Exchange or it could be held privately, and to turn that money over and with an objective of achieving in excess of 1,000% return on investment. So to take the fund from $5 million to in excess of $60 million over a 12-month period. Again, very ambitious objective, but it's something that I believe that I can achieve over that particular period. So I'll now conclude this particular episode, and this is not a solicitation for funds or anything. It's really just to update people in terms of what's been achieved over the last 6 months, what the plans are for the next 6 to 12 months. And in episodes 2 and 3, I'll spend time delving into each of the two strategies with some very specific examples. So goodbye from Ballarat, goodbye from the prodigal son, from Bakery Hill, which is my tagline on Radio 3BA, and you can listen to Radio 3BA on the first Tuesday of every month at 10:45 a.m. Goodbye from Ballarat. Cheerio.